I want you to, I'm going to, hopefully they'll, if they're here in the room, they'll raise their hand. Because I want to thank the people who came here today, who spent the time to share their work and to organize the event. So I'd like to take a moment to thank first our speakers. I don't know if Daphne's still in the room or not. She may have sprinted away. Daphne, we would like to thank you. Let's thank Daphne again for coming. Jeff Borden as well. I don't know where Jeff is. Thank you, Jeff, for being here. And it's a real sincere thanks to the Spark Table facilitators and the storytelling panel. I thought they were great. And of course, the MSU Global team who really made this event happen. Julie Orler, where are you, Julie? There's Julie in the back. Teal Amthor-Schaefer, right there you go, Teal. Dr. Bill Heinrich, where's Bill? He's in the back. Thank you, Bill. Where am I? Rashad Muhammad, Master of Tech up here. Well done, Rashad. Dr. Lee Graves-Wolf. Thank you, Lee. And Dr. Kevin Gamble. Where's Kevin? There's Kevin. Todd Shunnison in the back corner. Where am I? I can't see. Angela Martin. Thank you, Angela. And our student fellows. Kristen Soulier. Is Kristen there? Hi, Kristen. Michelle Graham. Is Michelle here? Stephanie McGavin and Melanie Badman. Melanie has a great name, Badman. So thank you. And let's actually give them a round of applause. So I actually am going to say a few words about the Hub for Innovation and Learning and Technology, but mostly I want to entertain some questions and reactions because it's a very new entity on campus and we're going to have to build it together. But before we get to some questions and conversation, I want you to participate in a little imagination work. So I want you to imagine a place in which faculty invent really compelling, powerful learning technologies and related pedagogies that leverage not just the power of analytics, but the power of drawing to learn and writing to learn to radically transform, let's say, science courses from places where students went to die to places where students go to learn. So imagine that as a possibility. I want you to also imagine that same place as a place that develops other kinds of learning technologies that provide some of the richest streams of formative feedback for students, such that Spanish writing becomes a place where students struggle to truly a place where students thrive. The needle moves. I want you to imagine a place in which we create and experiment and explore the use of avatars to change how students experience engineering coursework, particularly students who experience these things as suddenly alienating, where once they were terribly excited, and it moves the needle a little bit. I want you to imagine a place in which we actually come up with curriculum and pedagogy and ways of engaging students such that STEM learning environments are not places in which students who are historically underrepresented in those areas fail, but they succeed. I want you to imagine that place not as a future place. And I want you to imagine that not as the hub for innovation in learning and technology, but actually a present place and actually this university. This is what we do. This is Michigan State. This is who we are right now. We do this all the time. And these are very powerful stories. They're not necessarily the stories we tell about ourselves as an institution, but they ought to be. So what's this have to do with the Hub for Innovation and Learning and Technology? Michigan State University needs to move from a place in which we have tens and tens and tens of examples of this to hundreds. We need to be a place that generates these innovations and possibilities very fast, tests them very quickly, fails as many of them as we can fail, so that we can succeed as often as we can succeed. We need this to become a part of our DNA. We need these stories to become the first stories that we tell about Michigan State University, not just the story that we sometimes tell about Michigan State University. That's what the Hub is designed to do. The Hub is designed to be a place that connects people together who may have not thought that they needed connection or wanted connection or could thrive from such connection. The Hub is going to be a place that designs opportunities with faculty and programs. The Hub is going to be a place that uses those two ways of engaging the campus to facilitate innovation. That is who we were going to be when we become a hub that is fully functional. And we need you to become a hub that is fully functional. We have to be a place that reinvents what it means to learn at Michigan State University. And along the way, reinvent what a university needs to be for the 21st century. That's not something that's going to happen at Harvard or Stanford or Columbia. It may happen at all of those places, but it will happen here, and it must happen here. And that is our very high bar and our core mission. So do you think we can do this by ourselves? All 6 or 7 of us that have assembled together in this startup? No. So who are we? The initial configuration of the hub is a group of pretty crazy faculty members, which I'm delighted by. Some really wonderful learning designers, some really spectacular educational technologists, some truly spectacular students who put us all to shame, and every single faculty member on this campus that we can convince to work with us. That is who we will become, and that is how we're going to get our work done. So one of the things that I want to do is, one of the things that I'm doing when I'm talking about the hub is inviting. Because that merry band of pranksters that we've assembled together in this initial version of the hub cannot do it by ourselves. We are not designed to do it by ourselves. We are designed to help make this campus a very, very different place to learn and work and teach. So with that, I'm going to invite you now to contact us, and we'll make it available, we'll make it painfully obvious in the next week how it's possible to connect with the hub and contact us. But before we do that, before we close down the session today, I actually want to invite your reactions, and I want to invite your feedback, and I want to invite your questions, because as you're going to see as we unveil and roll out this hub over the course of the year, we're going to build it together, and we're going to build it by being in conversation with each other. So with that, I am going to stop talking and invite you to talk to each other, with us, about what the hub might mean to you and how it might help you transform the learning experiences of your students. Thanks. There's no clapping. There's just questions and conversation.
So can I ask you, who are your 6 or 7 group of merry pranksters?
The 6 to 7 group of merry pranksters? Well, everybody in the room who's a part of the merry brand of pranksters, you can stand up. There's a bunch of you in the room. Yeah, there's that. That's right. That's right. So it's what we've done is try to capture as much of the global DNA as we can, and we're going to capture as much of the talent and DNA from teaching, learning, and technology as we can. I'm persuading slowly really remarkable faculty members like Mark Sullivan to join us. Mark's job title is actually, what is it? Floating instigator? Floating catalyst. Yeah, you're just an instigator for me. So one of the things we're trying to do is design opportunities for faculty to inhabit roles and spaces that typical university structures may not let them inhabit. Does that help?
Sure.
One of the things that will be true about the hub is the hub will be the projects that it has ongoing at any given time. And so the roster that we present for who the hub is today is going to be very different from the roster we present in the spring and very different from the roster we present next year. Other questions, thoughts, reactions?
I have a question.
Yeah.
Do you have an example of like the existing projects that are in the hub now?
Oh my gosh, we've existed for 3 days and you want an existing project? Talk about setting the bar high, my goodness gracious. So yeah, I will. So one of the early projects, and David Wheeler can speak to it if he wants to speak to it, is we're working with ComArts and Arts and Letters and College of Music on various configurations of the media sandbox as not just a learning experience for students in College of Communication Arts and Sciences. We are interested in that, but also asking some very fundamental questions of, do students at MSU, is it a good idea for students at MSU to have opportunities to learn how to make media and to make things with media as a part of their educational experience? And what kinds of experiences can we provide to MSU students so that more of our students walk out of this university media interested, digitally talented, and capable of doing that kind of work in their lives. So we're going to do some work this year around various kinds of sandbox ideas. We're going to try and take some of the projects that I mentioned in my opening, which are truly innovative work on campus, and see if we can scale them and help them impact more and more students. So, for example, if we find, one of the things that I think is going to be truly innovative about this campus is we produce lots of innovations at relatively small scale. That is, we produce really good course interventions. We may produce really good interventions in sequences of courses. But if we're doing really remarkable work in those areas, then it seems reasonable to ask a question about why don't we educate all of our students in that way? Particularly in an institution like MSU, where the focus needs to be on high value, high impact education, not cheap and inexpensive education, because we're not going to be any of those things. So if we're really looking for value and we're really looking for oomph, then if we find things that really move the needle and transform the experience that students have on campus, then we need to think seriously about how we scale those things so that we can impact as many students as possible. And scale is a problem. And scale is really hard. Other questions, thoughts? Did I fake that question? I answered pretty well? That's good. I work on that. I have kids, so I'm a professional evader. Thoughts? Yeah.
How does, if one has an idea, is there, in all 3 of your days that you've been around, have you developed a system through which one appeals?
Yep. So the system right now is me.
Okay.
But next week we will make it abundantly clear how you can connect with us online.
Okay.
So we're going to make that abundantly obvious. So next week, probably in coordination with June's lead seminar on the 28th, we'll have some communication architecture in place which will allow you to connect with us. Because that is, as you might imagine, of critical importance to us. Because we don't work if we don't work with you. Thoughts, other thoughts, questions?
Jeff?
Yeah.
When you think about the work going on in the hub, or what will be going on, what 6 months from now, 12 months from now, whatever time period you want to put on it, so if you're back here next year at a similar event talking about what was accomplished, what do you hope that you're saying? What do you hope that you're talking about? I mean, I know you alluded to some of the targets, but I mean, what would you hope we would be able to say about the hub?
Yeah, that's a great question. And so let me back up and fill in a little bit about the basic sort of functionality of the hub, and then extend that into how I think that plays out, how I hope it plays out. So in terms of the functional capabilities of the hub, we're going to have a group of learning designers. We're going to be able to help people design educational learning experiences, and we're going to erase the distinction between online and offline, and on campus and off campus. And we're going to focus on what do good learning experiences look like, how do they function curricularly, how do they function pedagogically, how do they function technologically. And if we think about, we're going to think about digital education as distinct from online education. We're going to sort of mix those things up and try and deploy our talents across that. So when we think about learning design, we're talking about on campus, off campus, online, in space, underground, whatever. We're going to be interested in all of that. We're also going to have, I hope, a very strong assessment and analytics function. In fact, part of the morning I was over at the lead seminar on learning analytics, because I'm deeply interested in that and the way in which that might help us think about student success at the campus level, but also student performance in the classroom level. So I could go in the weeds on formative assessment data, but I won't, but I think it's terribly important. And we're not good at that. Nobody's good at it. We should be good at it, and if we're good at it, we're going to be actually a fairly distinctive institution. So in that category of assessment and analytics, the hub will have functionality, and we hope to partner with the campus on that functionality. And then another functionality that we're going to have is something that, this is a geeky term, but I call evidence-based best practices. So when we think about services, what works in our use of instructional technologies, what works in our use of classrooms, what works pedagogically, what I'm hoping that the hub does is over time shape the campus's focus on pedagogical moves, practices that actually move needles. Lots of things work in education, some things work better than others. Faculty like me or want to do whatever the heck we want to do. And so one of the things that I certainly try to do in my own programs and writing instruction is help our faculty focus with increasing fidelity on the things that are really going to enhance a student's experience. So those three functions, design, research and analytics, and sort of evidence-based practices, I think if we deploy those functionalities with care, I think we'll start to shape the campus conversation around learning, teaching, and the use of instructional technologies. So what does that mean in terms of what we might look like in 6 months or 18 months? Well, on the one hand, we want to certainly grow the roster of programs and colleges that are intentionally engaging in learning innovations. And I use that term learning innovations quite deliberately, particularly learning. So the key term for us is learning and not necessarily teaching. We'll get to teaching, but what we really need to do is help build cultures on this campus who are of faculty and students and staff who are deeply interested in student learning. And if we do that, I think we're going to have tremendous success. So one answer to that question is we should have a pretty significant roster of innovators who want to impact the campus. The second thing we need to do is, I think we'll have as an indicator of success, is that we have clusters of faculty and programs that are building a culture around learning. And that's going to shape not just what they do in the classroom, but how they approach assessment and evaluation, all of the above. And then I think we'll be able to, we should in 6 to 18 months have some example projects, because there's a lot of low-hanging fruit on this campus of our colleagues who have done some pretty remarkable work. And by remarkable work, I mean that they're demonstrably shown that they're capable of inventing new ways for students to learn on this campus. New programs, new assessments, new ways of credentialing, new ways of deploying learning technologies that are really clever and creative. Does that help a little bit?
Yes, thank you.
At 40,000 feet? That's all I got is about 40,000 feet. There's only cruising altitude. Dr. Sullivan?
Where do new forms of partnership with groups, communities, and corporations and institutions off campus fit in?
Yeah, so the question was, where do new collaborations between groups, communities, corporations, all of the above fit in? So a couple of examples of that. So one of the things that I hope is also an indicator of some success in 6 to 18 months is that we've linked together on campus learning spaces that aren't necessarily linked together. And what I have in mind in particular are the number of maker spaces that have emerged on campus. We should be keenly interested in them as spaces to learn as a campus, and right now they seem relatively disconnected from each other. And so one of the things that we hope we do as an entity that's involved with connecting people and facilitating innovation is we connect those maker spaces, and we help facilitate those as learning spaces on and around campus. So the hub will eventually have a physical space, but we will also be a network of spaces where students and faculty can go to learn. So that's a kind of connection and collaboration that I'm very interested in. I helped spin an educational technology company out of the university about 5 years ago, which makes me very sympathetic with partners outside the university and vendors who might have some things which actually help us out a lot. I'm disinclined to reinvent the wheel, and I'm disinclined to always invent things at Michigan State University that other people have already invented. So one of the things that I'm predisposed to do and I'm looking for are opportunities to partner and collaborate with other institutions, with community-based learning organizations, museums, informal learning institutions, and companies who think that they can help us achieve our mission. So my first impulse when we identify a problem or an opportunity on campus is not necessarily to figure out how we can reinvent the wheel, but to look first at who else in the world is already better at this and see if we can partner with them. There's lots of shortcuts, and those shortcuts can sometimes lead to really, really compelling partnerships, and we need to do that. So I'm hoping that the hub is an interface for us to partner with other institutions, and I mean other educational institutions. It's astonishing to me how little sort of campus-to-campus partnerships we actually do. We should do them more frequently. Other thoughts? Are you ready for some homework? You've had a good morning, right? Hopefully your brains are not quite fatigued, but a little bit energized. You have a new thought, you have a new idea. you're smarter today than right now than you were when you got up this morning. I hope that's the case. So what I want you to do, your homework, is to go home, go wherever you're gonna go have lunch, go have a cup of coffee, do whatever you're gonna do, go for a walk along the river, and identify a place, an opportunity in your home on this campus, or off campus, or with wherever you come from. Identify a reason to reach out to us. That's your homework. I want to hear from every single person in this room that you have a great idea that you think makes the student experience on this campus more transformative and more high impact. If you have those ideas, your job, your mission, should you choose to accept it, is to contact us. Thanks for being here. Thanks so much.
I just wanted to echo Jeff's thank you. A couple of things in the form of staying with assessment. One, how many people met somebody today that they didn't know before coming to this event today? Show of hands. Okay, so almost everyone. That's incredible. That is great. How many people came away with a new idea, thought, or something that they're at least going to go mull over? Show of hands. That's awesome. How many people are coming away with an idea or thought that they wish I'd just shut up so they could go back to their office and begin implementing right now? Are there anybody there? Yeah, Rob? Beautiful. All right. Well, again, thank you so much for attending today. Don't forget, there are some How I Met Your Mother moments on your way out, so please connect with some people on your way out. You don't have to go home, but you can't stay here. So thank you so much.